How's everybody doing today? Sorry, I'm kind of laying on the couch. Been kind of out of it because wife's at work, kids over at a friend's house. I've had a very interesting last week or 2 weeks or so. Actually, ever since I've been back from Africa. So before I went to Africa, I had a sit down, or not a sit down, but an appointment with my GP at the VA. So I basically moved to where I'm currently at, like 10 years ago. And this VA hospital is really, really good. And VA hospital that I kind of was in college through was really, really bad. Well, no, I shouldn't say really, really, just in a bad city, in a state that doesn't really fund their VA system and so on. And where I'm at now, it's light years better. So I'm sitting down with a young guy who's my GP, very friendly young guy, very nice, very professional. And he says to me, Mr. Smith, I'm going through records, and we never had you see a hearing specialist. And I jokingly said, you also never sent me to see a gynecologist, because I lost my hearing in 2006. What's the point of me seeing a hearing specialist? And he said, well, we still should have run some tests. And since you're already here, I would like to schedule this and so on. This is all before my Africa trip. I was like, okay. So scheduled it, sat down with a very nice young lady who is a audiology specialist, where I had to sit in a booth with all the stuff on my head. I'm supposed to hear like tones or whatever. I don't hear anything. And it's kind of like this. This is a massive waste of my time. And either before that or maybe after that, I think it was probably before that, she kept putting this thing that was almost like a squeezy kind of thing in her hand with like a nipple or something on it into my ears. She kept pressing a button. She's looking at a screen. And she did that on both my ears, like, it seemed like 10 or 15 times. Well, after my hearing test or whatever, she comes back into the booth. And I gotta say, it was really, really nice of her, where I never once had to say to her, hey, could you turn to me? Like usually when I'm talking to people at the VA hospital, they will naturally just start looking at a computer or something. And then I can't understand what they're saying because she's not looking at me. And she clearly made that effort to always look at me, which I greatly appreciated. And when she said to me, she seemed pretty animated. And she goes, did you know that, your eardrums hold pressure? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, your eardrums are all intact, which is a really, really good sign. I'm going to sign you up to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist, because, a doctor's going to want to talk to you about your hearing loss. So I scheduled, and it was very lucky I could get that done in that day. They fit me in where I sat down with an ear, nose, and throat specialist who was completely different than that lady. He was constantly looking at his computer, which is really, really frustrating. And he had like an assistant, maybe a nurse or whatever, that was jotting stuff down on a pad of paper, and I could see what she was saying. I couldn't see what he was saying half the time. And finally, I had to say something to him. I was like, sir, I'm very sorry. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm missing things because you're not facing me. And he said, well, I want to get an MRI done on your skull. I said, for what? He goes, well, we got to see if there's any kind of growth or tumors on your brain, because that might explain your hearing loss. And I kind of just pointed to the right side of my face, like, hey, this is my hearing loss. Like, half my face looks like it's fucking melted off, kind of thing. Like, that's how I lost my hearing. I didn't lose it from no fucking um, uh, tumor or whatever. He said, well, I still need to get that done because I'm interested in how the bone structure in your ears look. I was kind of like, okay, whatever, kind of thing. So they scheduled like 3 weeks ahead of time to get a MRI, and then I was supposed to contact him, set up an appointment 2 weeks later to go over the results with him. Well, my whole trip in Africa happened, where I was supposed to come back after like a couple of days. It took a month and a half. You know, a lot of yada, 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 dada, dada. It took longer and longer and longer. And so eventually I was finally able to get back, and I had to sit down with the guy and started talking to him, and he starts explaining how he wants to do surgery on my ears. And I'm like, for what? What's the purpose of this? He goes, well, I can open up your eardrums, kind of flap them open, and I believe, based on the MRI and stuff, that your hearing loss is due to the bones in your inner ear are all damaged and broken and destroyed. He goes, but the fact that your eardrums can hold pressure, I can replace those bones with synthetic bones, and we can restore your hearing. And I don't remember the rest of the conversation. Like, basically, the bottom fell out of my brain. Where, I don't know, like, almost 20 years ago, I had to come to terms with the fact that I lost my hearing, which was not easy. It was very, very difficult for me. And, I wasn't ready for that. And, I was asking him, like, how does this work? How's this possible? And I guess there's new developments and stuff in, like, these synthetic bones and inner ear stuff. But, I don't know. Like, I wasn't really, no idea this was possible. And I basically said to him, I thought my hearing loss was probably due to, like, I forget what it is now, but, like, there are hairs inside your inner ear that, when stuff inside your ears vibrate, the hairs pick up that vibration, and then your brain basically decodes the vibrations that are occurring inside your ear. I'm like, I thought those were the things that were damaged, because they probably are. But because the fact that you have no hearing doesn't seem right. So there's a chance that we can replace those bones in your head. And he's like, you're not going to get 100% hearing back, but at least one of your ears, I expect that I could get your hearing back to the point where you can wear hearing aids. Are you interested? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm interested, but I got to talk to my wife. I've had so many surgeries over the years, and I don't like surgeries. I've had surgeries that have helped me. I've had surgeries that haven't helped me, and I've had surgeries that made me worse. And I would love to tell you that the whole reason I was averse to this is because I didn't want to disappoint my wife if the surgeries didn't work, but that's bullshit. That's utterly bullshit. I didn't want to disappoint myself. Because it was just so hard coming to terms losing my hearing. So fucking hard coming to terms losing my hearing. Just indescribable. Oh, God. I ended up at a church. I remember my local VA, different VA hospital, sent me to a church, and in their basement they had, like, once a month a support group for people that lost their hearing, or deaf people, I should say. And it seemed like half of us were born deaf and the other half had lost our hearing. And that's where I learned that the people that are born deaf, some of them are really effing weird. Like, really, really, oh my God. Uh, what is that thing? Conical implants that they have for little kids so they can hear for the first time ever. And there are some born deaf people that view that as like the same as apartheid or something. It's really bizarre. There's a whole deaf subculture that I never fucking understood. And the one guy that was deaf was a real prick. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like I didn't want to, I don't know, I guess have hope. I didn't want to disappoint myself. Buy into this or whatnot. I don't know. So I came home from that, and of course I'm back from my business trip, so I'm not having to go in an office or anything. I'm just kind of in a holding pattern to my next job assignment. My wife knew that I was at the VA center, and I was like, "Hey, babe, I gotta talk to you." Kitchen table kind of thing. And right away, she knew something was up, and I feel bad about looking back at it now, but like at the time, I didn't really think to anything of it. But I think naturally she thought, "Oh my God, he got the results of his physical or whatever." So I think she was thinking of the worst. But I was like, "No, they want to do surgery on my ears, and I think they might be able to restore hearing in like one or both of them, and I'm just gonna have to wear hearing aids." And my wife was super excited. And I did say to her, I'm like, don't tell our boy yet. I, you know, he's one of those things. I don't want to be a jerk and just surprise him with it, but at the same time, I don't want to tell him that this might work and that it doesn't work. It's going to be very, very weird for me. I'm going to have to get used to falling asleep when I hear stuff. I'm actually, the effed up part is I'm going to have to learn what my wife's voice sounds like. I've never heard her voice. Because I lost my hearing in 2006. I met my wife in 2007, and I married my wife 5 years later in 2012. I've never heard my wife's voice. I've never heard my son's voice. I have no idea what my voice or what my son's voice sounds like. I don't know what my voice sounds like. No idea. I mean, I have an idea what my voice sounds like, but I have a feeling it's not what I remember it as. I got so many coworkers, I've never heard their voice. And so anyway, needless to say, today I had surgery. So everything's packed up with gauze and shit. I don't hear nothing, but it's one of those things where I'm not gonna hear anything anytime soon. But we'll see what we see, or I guess we'll hear what we hear. We'll see if it works. It's gonna be so weird getting used to. If it works, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, kind of thing. Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be hugely disappointed because I really want to know what my kid sounds like. Although it'd be funny if I find out that my wife's got a knack or a laugh that I can't stand. Be like, why do you sound like you're from Queens? You're from Queensland, Poland. We're like, what the fuck is going on? And then I find out my son is back talking me every single time I turn my head. Like, yeah, you're a little shit. What the hell's going on? I apologize. I think I'm still on a little bit of painkillers. So, yeah, it's a little weird. I got so much stuff plugged in my ears right now. I feel like I'm wearing like a helmet, and it's all just stuff packed in my ears. This will be exciting. But I hope everyone's doing good. Better take care. Bye.